Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Matthew here with Crescent Vale. We're going to do an autograph. This is a self-graded card review of Dennis Rodman's 2024-2025 Topps Chrome. This is just one of the most beautiful autographs of Dennis Rodman I've seen. Got it on eBay. Super thrilled to be able to do this one. This is the first Dennis Rodman autograph card I've ever owned. So it's been years in the making. Let's get into it. Starting off with the disclaimer. The disclaimer is every time we do a video that goes over our self-grading process, every post, every listing, we make it known that these grades that are noted in the video, noted on the article, noted in the listing, these grades are my own assessment. This is going to be known as a raw card. The grades will not guarantee to cross over to the other grading companies. The grades will not guarantee to increase the value of the card. What this is basically my best assessment at the card's grade and showing any flaws that may exist with the cards that we discuss. Let's get into it. All right, Dennis Rodman, an iconic player, an iconic card, an iconic autograph. Any of you know anything about Dennis Rodman autographs? He is notorious for essentially not completing the autograph, writing, basically holding the marker down until he will basically all the way go across the whole autograph. Some say, this is a sticker auto. It's not as good as on card. I tend to just find the autograph itself, if it's on card, if it's off card. The autograph itself it's a 10. So I'll just get I've been looking at Dennis Rodman autographs for years. This is the first one I've ever purchased, so I take them pretty serious. And the way we do our custom labels for the Zion slabs that we purchase is not an advertisement for Zion slabs. They're just the best slab that I find for doing self-graded cards and custom labels. We're going to put it on the back. So the front will still have the grade of the card. On the back of it will say basically a 10. And this is my own assessment at Dennis's autograph, but as you can kind of see, we can take a quick look. The autograph is completely on the sticker, so that's kind of one element that I find is very important whenever we're doing these. What's also really nice about this is the pen doesn't really leave a lot. There's not a lot of imperfections on the auto itself. The only thing I could say is possibly it was the only thing you could possibly mark it down is the fact that it's a sticker, but it's not really a qualifying aspect to an autograph. Sticker, on card, I can't really use that, but overall I think it's just beautiful. Everything about it is great. So 10 for the autograph. All right, then let's take a look next at, we have the card up. Let's look at the surface of it while we have it up. So, one could say that the small indentions that you can kind of see right there on the ball that run through the card, you could say, well, the surface is not a 10 out of 10. Now, I haven't seen too many other of these. So that's SkyWrite Signatures. Some of them may also have that, but really those small imperfections. You can also, I've seen the surface wherever there is indentions around a player is similar to Mosaic's, the rookie stamp. If there were, essentially, you can kind of see a small indentation around the top of his head, around the ball. If there was a drastic inconsistency with the spacing around from his head to this little indentation spot, then we could take a look at that and talk about it, but it is all perfect. Now, I will say that for the surface of the card, I could go down to a 9.5. I'm not seeing many besides, I don't really call it a print line, I call it indentation. But that was just a little bit on the front, and I'll go 9.5 for the surface, because I can't sit here and say that the surface was completely flawless. It was a 9.5. So let's just go ahead and get this going. We're writing down the surface score of 9.5, the auto score of a 10. We'll also take a look at centering, edges, corners, and we will come up with a overall total score. Each time whenever we do the centering, I use a penny sleeve just to protect the card. And I do have a kind of like a piece of plastic that goes over cards, and I could use that, but honestly I have been using a ruler for my grades. And please go back through some of the other YouTube videos that we have up if you have time, if you like watching these, and watch other ones and see how well we do. But yeah, let's get into the space from the anchor points is where I'm usually looking for. I'm kind of taking the top of this anchor point and going up to the edge of the card from the anchor point. That's close to 4. So both of those were consistent with one another. 4. So all anchor points are basically matching up with one another on the front. Looks like on the back this might be 3. From the top, let's see what we have at the bottom here. 5. Oh, is that 5? Maybe 4.5. Possibly 4.5. Don't have too many other anchor points. So top to bottom on the back is, I would say, not completely perfect. So we could go with a centering 9.5. Now we'll take a look at the corners and the edges, which I've been looking at this card and it's pretty flawless. And I think we're just going to go with 2 10s. So we'll have 2 9.5s and 2 10s with the auto 10. So for edges, 10, corners, 10, and then 2 9.5s. And essentially it comes down to an average. And for this card, we're giving it a 10. A 10 out of 10, similar to, we have a Beam Team Rodman, and it just kind of just works out this way. But you can kind of see here the subgrades are a 10, a 9.5, a 9.5, and a 10. And, you know, every grading company has its own way of doing things. Essentially, even though there's 2 9.5s, would I round up to a 10 or round down to a 9.5? And like whenever I was looking at the surface, there was just very minor indentation. So that was very minor. And then the surface of the card had symmetry centering, but the back was slightly off. So when I think about those 2 imperfections, does that really knock it down from a 10? I think that keeps it at a 10 instead of a 9.5. So 9.5 for this Dennis Rodman autograph card. That's the grade we're arriving at. Thank you for watching.